Okay, thank you for having me to talk. I've been told to take my mom voice out, so bear with me. If you can't hear me, somebody yell. Otherwise, we're good. I'm Rebecca Orgaard. I'm the Southwest Department of Ag pesticide inspector. So across across the state, there are 6 of us scattered everywhere. So make sure that if you need to talk to one of us, contact the one that is for your counties. Here are all their phone numbers and names. So you got Carla, Matthew, Andrew, me, Derek, and Kevin. So I'm going to talk a little bit about inspections first, and then we'll demonstrate. There's going to be a little bit of answering questions. So the better you guys answer questions, the faster we go. That's just the way it works. Otherwise, we're going to stand here and wait. So we're going to talk about use inspections and facility inspections today. So the first part is all on use inspections. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask me. So for a use inspection, this is kind of what you can expect to have happen. I'm going to come upon you while you're spraying. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to check your label. I'm going to check your PPE, check your rates that you're using. So make sure even if you didn't mix it, you know what you're applying. You'd be amazed how many times that happens where my boss mixed it. I have no clue what I'm spraying. You got to know what you're applying, you guys, and what rate you're applying it at. So what endorsement does everyone have to have in North Dakota to be a commercial applicator? The main test that everybody has to take. Oh man, we're going to be here for a really long time today. Merlin, I have hours, right? Yeah, okay, good. Nobody has an answer? Okay, everybody had to sit down and take it. That's your ground core or air core. That's the main one that covers PPE and being safe and mixing a little bit. Okay, so what endorsement do you guys need to be able to spray right away? Right, okay, see? Now we're getting somewhere. What's the minimum age to be able to be licensed? 18. Perfect. Okay, so make sure you have the correct endorsement. And yeah, this does get to be a big deal. Keep the appropriate records. So how long do you have to complete records once you're done spraying for the day? 24 hours, absolutely. Okay, so when I'm out doing a use inspection, am I checking your records right there on the spot? No. Merlin, do I check your records when you're making an application? If you don't know your information, yeah. But no, you have 24 hours to complete those records. So when I do a facility inspection, I'm going to check all of your application records. On the side of the road, when I'm doing a use inspection, I'm not going to look at your records. Unless you need to double check what the temperature is or what the wind speed was an hour ago. Okay, so make sure you are keeping your records, right-of-way records and your normal pesticide application records. Both of these forms are PDF fillable and available on the North Dakota Department of Ag website. I'm going to check your label. It must be available at the application site during the time of application. It is your guys' job to read it and know what it says. There are chemical containers coming out with QR codes. Thanks, Merlin. Forgot the word for a second. With QR codes on them, where you're supposed to scan the QR code in order to get the label. So my advice to you would be scan the QR code before you leave the shop where you have good Wi-Fi. Download and save that label to your phone so that when you're at the application site, if you have bad reception, you can still pull up that label. Okay, so take a label off an empty jug and keep it with you. So you can either do the digital or pull the label off. Here's Grassland L and Milestone. What are some of the things that you want to look at on your label before you leave? PPE, exactly. Okay, so I've got the milestone label and the grassland. Haha. The point of this is, do you see the differences in the PPE on those two labels? Okay, that's what you guys need to make note of. Make sure you are wearing the PPE for the most restrictive chemical that you have loaded. So a milestone, I mean, just long sleeve shirt, pants, shoes, socks. Grassland L, you need some more stuff. So I'm going to look at your PPE, okay? Please don't be doing this. You guys, is this what I expect to see when I drive up to you and you're out making an application into the ditch? Heck no. I would have already passed out from heat stroke, so I expect you would have too. Okay? However, are you mixing? Yes, no. What does your label say? Okay? And what does your application site require? There are some sites that do require all of this and or a full Tyvek suit. So pay attention. What happens if this is what I see? A, I pray you have a driver's license. B, maybe you shouldn't. Okay, I have to look at your label first. And then I'm probably going to say, why don't you go home and get some more clothes on? How many things are wrong with this, you guys? What? No seatbelt? Absolutely. Got some more? There should be a whole list. No gloves, no mask, no helmet. Okay. Do you think he's driving at the same time he's doing this? Yeah, he was. I have no idea how he did that. Okay. How about on these ones? Yeah, there's a whole list, you guys. So if you have an employee that tends to like to wear flip-flops and shorty shorts, make them wear a Tyvek or get them some pants. Bottom one up there, any idea? I mean, he looks pretty young, right? Got a guess? 15. Yep, totally not old enough to spray. Okay. What about his PPE? Yeah. Okay. Depends on what he's spraying, what your label says, but in general, he's got pretty good PPE on. Okay, I'm going to check your rates. So know what you are applying, what you've got mixed. Listen to the question, okay? So when I ask you, what are you applying? What rate are you applying of chemical per acre? Please don't tell me it's gallons. Because you and I both know you're not applying 6 gallons of milestone per acre. I would love it if you tell me how much water you use, but make sure that you listen to the question. Okay, so here's your milestone label. So I would be expecting ounces is what you tell me, not gallons. Liability insurance. As a county weed people, you should have coverage under the state. However, since this is one of the things I'm supposed to ask you for, technically you are supposed to have this with you. Proof of liability insurance, not your vehicle liability insurance. And yes, people have given me that and told me, here's your liability insurance proof. No, it's not. This is for your car. Okay? Make sure it's not outdated. And I'm bringing this up just in case you do spraying at home too, because some of you guys are farmers in addition. So if you have something that you need additional training for, like paraquat, make sure that you take the training, which is only about 45 minutes, and keep a copy of the certificate with you because I can't look it up. And you have to have proof with you. I'm also going to look at your equipment. If I found you by following a foot-wide swath of chemical to your field, you have more issues than me stopping you. And you just wasted a whole lot of money. And yes, that has happened. He was not impressed when he got to the field and his sprayer was more than half empty. 5 things needed for a decontamination kit, you guys. Shovel, not a spill kit, a decontamination kit. Does everybody know the difference? Water, absolutely. Decontamination kit is if you get some on you so that you can clean up. So if you're out spraying and a nozzle plugs and you go to fix that nozzle and instead you get doused, this is how you take care of yourself and get it all off. Okay, so water, absolutely. An eye flush, yeah, yep. Change of clothes, absolutely. I would not want to scare my neighbors. I assume you don't want to too. Okay, soap, water, single-use towels. So like a roll of paper towels, just throw them in so you can dry off. Change of clothes. Eye wash, if required by label. Okay, so eye flush kit. Make sure it is not saline. So don't take contact solution because contact solution and saline both have salt in them. Some of these chemicals are going to react with salt and you do not want a chemical reaction in your eye. So either take just clean water or sterile water with for an eye flush. Spill kit, you guys. What's in the spill kit? Does this count as a spill kit? Couple 5-gallon pails, some floor dry, couple shovels, brooms, something to clean it up. Yeah, that absolutely counts as a spill kit. Does yours have to be that big? No. Pretty easy to load that in the back of your sprayer or in the back of your pickup, whatever's at your site. Take it with. North Dakota has central spill reporting. So if you do cause a spill, you do need to report it. Now, am I talking if you accidentally kicked over your 2,4-D jug, 2.5-gallon 2,4-D jug when you're going to load? Do you need to report that? I'd use some common sense. However, if you go to pick up your 250-gallon tote and accidentally puncture it with your skid steer forks, you absolutely have to report that. So when you call to report it, the name of the pesticide and the EPA number of it, the amount of the pesticide, the location of the accident, what actions you took to remedy that. So I would follow your 3 C's. This is not a 4 S's kind of situation, okay? 3 C's. Contain, control, yes. At the mixing site, okay? Contain, control, and clean it up. This was a commercial applicator who got pissed off at the farmer that he was supposed to be making an application for. So he dumped his whole load on the road instead of actually applying it. There was lots of fines and fees accorded with this. Okay, so contain it, control it, clean it up, make sure you call it in. www.spill.nd.gov. Okay, so Richard, if you would come and make an application, please, that would be perfect. Just in here, sir. Okay, so Richard here is making an application along the roadside, and I drive up to him and get out. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to walk up and say, hi, what's your name, sir?
Richard Weiss. I'm with the Grant County Weed Board.
The Grant County Weed Board. Okay, so Merlin's your boss, huh?
Yep, great supervisor.
Okay, so I need your name and address and phone number, sir.
Is that required?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
By the way, my name is Rebecca Orgaard. I'm your state pesticide inspector.
Sorry, this is
Um,
the first time. I'm really nervous.
No, you're totally fine. So what this is just a conversation. So I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to mark down your answers
Okay.
because I want to be able to remember it later and I got to put it in my computer later.
Makes sense.
And so we're just going to have a conversation. I'm
Okay.
going to ask you some questions, get some answers, and then you can go about your day.
Thank you.
Okay, sir? So you told me that Merlin is your boss and I need his address and phone number, sir.
I do not know that offhand.
You don't have his phone number?
He did say that he was going to the cities for the Vikings game. And if I needed anything, I could call him. Should I call him for this?
Absolutely, please.
Merlin, I'm gonna need some assistance with the stop that I had with Rebecca Orgaard. Can you help me out here?
I won't be there for about 6 hours.
Okay.
I'm in the Twin Cities at a Viking game.
Are you licensed, sir?
I am.
Okay, perfect. So what chemicals do you have loaded and do you have proof of your license with you?
My license is in my lunchbox back at the weed board shop. Merlin just loaded all the chemicals, so I don't know what's in there. But he said we're just good to go. He seemed in a hurry to get to the Packard Vikings game. But he said I was good and I wouldn't have to worry about anything like this, but here we are.
Again, I'm sorry, sir. You got your job to do and I got mine. So how about you call Merlin and see what you got loaded and what rates you are applying it at? And I will take the time to pull up on my phone and look at your license.
Okay. Merlin, how many gloves do we got in this?
We have 2 extra gloves to Tordon per acre and one glove shoot for each acre.
Probably that's the kid. Do I get the fine or does he get the fine?
Well, let's check your PPE, sir.
Okay.
For Tordon, I can tell you right now, you at least need long sleeves and gloves. What else you got loaded?
$240.
Okay. Well, I have to be honest, so I got to write down everything that you just told me.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to send you home.
Okay.
Glugs is not an appropriate measure for how much you are applying. Okay. And if you want to come out spraying again later after you get your rates figured out and label specific, please make sure you put on your proper PPE. And your equipment looked pretty good. I mean, it wasn't leaking or oozing or anything like that. So way to go there.
Okay.
Next time you come out, please make sure that you know what chemical you're applying, what rate you're applying, and where Merlin is if you have questions.
What if I go back, supposed to leave because I don't know my rate, but then I figure out my rate really quick, go right back out, see you again? Is it kind of gonna be the same thing? It's just me explaining my rates to you now in a proper way, what they are? basically?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, when you go back, make sure you're putting on all the PPE you need.
correct.
That would be one of the main reasons I'm sending you home,
Okay,
is you need to be safe when you're making an application too.
understood. Did anything happen to Merlin for being 6 hours away? Or is that on me?
You are properly licensed, okay? So it is kind of on you. Yeah, the fact that Merlin did the loading and left kind of leaves you in a bind, but yeah. He's not actually providing supervision to you because you are licensed.
Sounds good.
Finally got
Okay, does anybody have any questions on that? Kind of a stylized version, but
You didn't introduce yourself right away.
no, I did it just a little bit into it. Sometimes the second that you tell them who you are, they absolutely freak. I've had people try to run away from me. I also had a guy vomit on me. So yeah, that's sometimes not the first thing I lead with. Absolutely, sir.
thought this interview was over. Next question. Does anybody have any questions though?
Do you have any questions on this at all? Correct. Yes. Correct. Unless his label specifically requires gloves too. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Richard. Um. Okay. So tips. If you guys have questions when I'm doing a use inspection, just ask me. Okay. One of the biggest tips is to make sure you listen to the question and answer truthfully. Maintain your equipment, guys. Wear your PPE. If weather parameters are outside the label requirements, don't wait until I stop you to go home. Please just go home. You guys know if it's too windy. I mean, if it's a downpour rain, how many chemicals can you actually apply with that? You know, if it's way too hot, yeah, I'm not your enemy. My goal is to not shut you down. That's not a fun day when every single person you stop, you have to send home. But there are days that happens like that too. If the wind is 45 miles an hour, you guys know as well as I do how many chemicals you can apply that way. Okay, so I'm going to look at your proof of liability insurance, your label, the equipment that you're using, your PPE, the wind speed and temperature. I'm going to ask you the chemical rates that you're using, even if you didn't mix it. So for proof of your license, and if you needed any additional training, I got to ask for proof of that too. Okay, any questions on any of the use inspection stuff? No? Okay, if you come up with them later, let me know. So for a facility inspection, here's where I'm going to check your records. Okay, so for record keeping, you do need all of this information. Now, this is on a chemical application record. This is not your RUP record sheets, which you do need those too if you are letting RUPs go out of your county weed board office. Okay, so PDF fillable forms, again, are available on the North Dakota Department of Ag website. So for RUP sales, there are sheets for that too. You need to keep a separate sheet for each RUP that you are letting go or moving out of your county weed board. So like Tordon, the 2 gallons, the 2.5 gallon jugs and the 1 gallon jugs would each need a separate sheet for that if they have a separate EPA number. So you would need all of this stuff. So fill out the sheet, okay, for each chemical. Storage area, you need a spill kit, all labeled PPE for the highest or most restrictive label of chemical that you guys keep. And it needs to be on hand at your storage facility. It needs to be locked, okay? Don't worry, I'm going to cover the exact state law in a second here. So when I say that signage is required by each door, is this the kind of signage I mean? I only see 2 heads. There are a lot more than 2 of you in this room. Okay, come on, guys. Is this the kind of signage that I mean? Yeah, I did find this at a facility. Does this count as proper signage? No, I'm really sorry. This does not. This does, or this does. You need to say that it's a pesticide storage area. Keep out. Authorized personnel only. Okay, something like that. Well, I really like the cat sign. It actually doesn't count as proper signage. And yeah, it was at a facility. Okay, here's 60.03.0106. This is the exact storage law. This is what we are coming in to inspect and make sure that you guys are following and in compliance with all of these things. So all pesticides must be stored in their original container in accordance with labeling recommendations. All labeling of stored pesticides must be plainly visible. They must have a proper label affixed to them. You have to be maintaining your chemicals so that if there is a release or spill, it is not endangering humans, animals, the environment, or contaminating food, feed, seed. So this is what we are checking. Okay, you guys, here's two different types of facilities. Okay, yes, I have inspected both of these. Yes, I have seen both of these. What do you think of them? They're both totally self-contained. Are they both in compliance? Okay, so here. This is a totally self-contained storage unit. This is temperature and humidity controlled. There's a complete fire system on it. It's got its own ventilation system. It completely locks. It's got all kinds of proper signage. The main downfall with this one, this is some of the most expensive storage I have ever seen, ever. It is absolutely amazing. Inside, it's got its own containment system. It's got a shelf up above the floor that catches any drips. It's really cool. And I don't know anybody that can afford it. This was at a federal facility. How about this one? Yeah, no signage. This is completely easy to steal. This guy thought it was the best storage ever. I said, what do you do with it? He goes, well, when I'm done using it for chemicals, I plug it back in and put my meat back in it. It was oh, okay. My advice would probably not be to use this. How about these? And yes, these are real examples. I'm not just setting something up because how do you set this up? Okay, this is totally in compliance. I mean, he's got containment there. You can see the concrete at the bottom, the heat up in the corner. He's got ventilation right here. He's got an extra ventilation area for it. It's like a louvered thingy on the window. It was really cool. Okay. The totally in compliance. Eat up off the floor. It's all labeled. It's got everything it needs. Took him a little time to arrange, slightly more costly than the other example right here too. Okay, anybody see anything wrong with this one? There's nothing in the law that says that you have height requirements on storage. It wasn't a trick question, Merlin. There's nothing really wrong with this, okay? How about with this one? It was cheap. That's about the only good thing I can say for it. Okay, all the black area around it, you can already tell how much is leaked out. By the way, what is it? Yeah, I have no idea what it is. You can't tell. There's no labels, there's no boxes left on some of this. But by the black around it, you can tell how much it's already killed off. I don't think that stuff's gonna grow back for quite a while. This was not a good situation. And there was multiple departments that ended up involved. Okay? So please don't do that. Okay, reiterating again, here's your storage laws. Okay? You judge. What's this storage like? Okay, get a good look at the picture. Okay? Here's those 6 main parts of that law from the previous slide. I can go back if you need me to. Okay. Here is your labeled storage for shredders right here. This is class act. So that's an adjuvant. Okay. So the shredder label is the one we're worried about. What do you think, guys? Any violations with this one? Would I have to mark this one up for something? I'm sorry, what? What does it look like? Dirt. It is dirt. This is total dirt and a little bit of straw over it. You can see there's some holes in the walls. She's just piled up back here. Okay. This was actual storage at a place. I just opened the door and this is what's there. Now, technically, is he storing it according to labeled storage? Can shredder freeze? Yeah, it can. Tells you right there. If it gets under 40, you got to warm it up, mix it up, and then you can use it. Okay, so, so what would you do? Does anybody think this is great storage? Anybody thinks it needs a little help? Yeah, it needs a little help, you guys. Okay. So yeah, I would have to write them up for the second one. So following storage requirements, because you can't just pile it in a corner and leave it there. It tells you how to get rid of empties. And I don't even know if they were empty. I didn't touch any of it. All I did was open a door and snap a picture. Okay. And the last four. So that would be contaminating through a release, proper signage. Not kidding when I say I just opened the door. It was just a sliding door on it. No lock, no catch, no nothing. No PPE. Yeah, this would be violations. How about this one? Not dirt. You can see the edge of the concrete right there. Okay, just because maybe your eyes are like my eyes, that's Tordon and Freelex. Okay? What do you think, guys? Would you consider this good storage? No. How come? Yeah, absolutely. This is an RUP. So does that absolutely have to be locked up? Oh yeah, that's not something you want anybody's neighbor kids or a raccoon in or your own kids playing with. It got to be an RUP for a reason. Maybe we should keep that locked. Okay. Here is Relex's storage requirements. Here's Tordon's storage requirements. Technically, both of them can freeze. So, however, Tordon does have an extra line in there that says that you can't store it where it's going to possibly contaminate water. I should go back to the picture, but right in the front of it, there's a wellhead with a hydrant. I mean, like 6 feet off or 6 inches off the edge of the concrete. Okay. So yeah, this would be violations too. Okay, now what you see in every single farmer I know's shop. Okay, you guys, what about this storage? Can anybody read that jug? Hold on, I'll blow it up here for you. Okay, can you read it now? Leafy spurge, yeah. They don't even say mix on it. I'm positive that's a mix. I mean, it's almost got to be, right? Okay, you guys. So, good storage, bad storage, holy cripes. storage. Yeah, holy cripes. That's what I would call this one too. How many violations do you think this one would be? Yeah. Everything except for possibly the last one. But that depends. Was that shop at least locked on that specific day? Depends on the farmer. Okay, these are all, I didn't set these up. These are things that I've walked in and seen. Okay, so when you're thinking about your storage, make sure you're following what's recommended, especially for an RUP. Keep them locked up. Even if it's out in the field with you while you're mixing and loading, you are supposed to have that locked up while you're transporting it. So does locked up while you're transporting it mean throw it in the back seat, shut the cab, you're good? Really, you guys? No answer at all? Somebody went, yeah, that's a good idea. No, not a good idea. Okay. Heck, if you need to make an expanded metal box, weld it up, put a hasp on it, throw it in the back of your pickup. Keep it locked up. Okay. So for records, how many hours do you have to complete records after you make an application? 24. Good. Yeah. How many years do you need to keep those records? 3. Absolutely. Do you have to keep records of rinsate disposal? Yeah, you do. Good job. If I could throw things at you, I would throw you candy, but this room is way too long, trust me. Absolutely, Merlin. Yes. Technically, you are supposed to. Just say sprayed it out. If you're adding it back to your sprayer that you're going to apply it, sprayed it out. Okay. Okay, so if you are building a new building, what kind of things do you need to be aware of? A, everybody wants a new building because that's just the moral of it. But, sir, did you have a question? No? Okay. Okay. So you need the ability to keep your pesticides dry, well ventilated, and if the label requires it, above freezing. Some chemicals can freeze, others you don't want them to freeze at all. You guys know what concrete in a spray tank is like and fun to get out. Okay. Make sure you keep your food, feed, seed, and pesticides separate. So there has to be some kind of ability to keep them apart from each other. And make sure that your floor is impervious. So some kind of containment either under your pallet or under your building. They do make pallets that are their own containment system. They have trays in them. So if anything on the pallet spills, it's automatically caught and kept. No floor drains. Or if it has to have a floor drain, make sure it is sealed or on its own pump, like sump pump system. Any questions on this? No, everybody's got it. You're all ready for your facility inspections? Quite a few of you should already have had them. I mean, almost all of you should be kind of used to this. So you're going to look at records for your applications and for your RUP sales. You're going to look at storage, you're going to look at signage, floor drains, licensing, making sure that whoever you have out making applications is fully licensed. This is not the kind of storage that we require. There's all kinds of storages that fit within the parameters that don't have to be exactly like this. However, I would recommend it's not a freezer on a trailer. Any questions at all, you guys? Covered it thoroughly? Everybody's ready for me to come? Yeah. Perfect. Yes, sir. What kind of fines are there? Okay, so there's a couple questions there. which I might have to call my backup for, because I'm gonna be honest. We, as inspectors, go through and write down what we see. I don't even know what fines or fees you guys got unless Richard tells me later. So I know that Richard follows a rubric to figure those out. So if you've had fines or fees before, I think if it's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, please. But if it's the first time, typically you're going to get just a warning. If it's the second or third time, then your fines are going to increase. I don't know what levels those are at.
No, I'd say this, yeah. Actually, like, when inspectors are going out to do these, facility inspections or anything, really even use inspections. Honestly, it's more like an educational moment for everybody. We're not out here to like give you guys massive clients. That's really kind of what I learned coming into this, is we want to work with everybody. We really don't want to create animosity, we want to just help teach people the right way. And so a lot of the times, if you're gonna go out and then Rebecca sees something, she can say, hey, is this the verbal warning? This is where I saw it was nothing egregious. They were really respectful, understanding they're gonna get it done. That's just what it was, a kind of educational moment, how I take it. Next time we come out, nothing's changed. It's kind of same things, traffic face, like, we don't really care. We're gonna kind of take probably a little bit of a different look at it. But we usually kind of take the approach that we want to work with you. You kind of have that educational moment where your fines, honestly, it's gonna be a verbal warning, and that's it for your first time. It's gonna have to be like reoccurring, for things, for fines to really go up in price. I guess that makes sense. We're not out here to really kind of like hurt anybody.
We're not out here to shut anybody down.
Yeah.
Unless you are actively trying to do it wrong repeatedly. If that does that answer your question? Yes? Okay. Good question. Thank you. Any more questions? No? Okay. I wish you guys all safe travels, and hopefully this is not your day. Okay? And if you need to get a hold of me at all, give me a call. I forgot to put Richard's phone number up there, but he's always available too.